Welcome everyone to the March 3rd, 2026 council meeting. The meeting is live streamed and recorded and available on the internet by visiting the Town of Parry Sound website at www.parrysound.ca. Prior to the open session, council met for a closed meeting. It was moved by Councillor Ashford and seconded by Councillor Keith, that pursuant to section 239(2) and 3 of the Municipal Act SO 2001 C25 as amended, Council of the Corporation, the Town of Parry Sound, moved to a special meeting closed to the public in order to address matters pertaining to D, labor relations or employee negotiations, potential new jobs to the corporation. And that meeting was had. I'll acknowledge at this time that we're on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe people under the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850 and the waterways traveled by the Métis of this region. Are there any additions or to the agenda? Councillor Borneman? Yep. Anything else? No? Mover and seconder for the agenda, please. Councillor McCann and Councillor Bileski. Council agenda for March the 3rd, 2026 be approved as amended. All in favor? That's carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Oh, okay. Mover and seconder for the minutes. Councillor Keith, Councillor Ashford, that the minutes from the regular council meeting held February 17th, 2026 and the special council meeting held February 24th, 2026 be approved as circulated. Any discussion or comments on any of those meetings? No? All in favor then? Then that's carried. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a few minutes to hold a public meeting to hear any interested persons with regard to a proposed official plan amendment under Section 17 of the Planning Act and zoning amendment under Section 34 of the Planning Act. I need a mover and seconder to adjourn the regular meeting. Councillor McCann, Councillor Keith. We now adjourn the regular meeting and declare the public meeting open. All in favor? That's carried. Okay. Ms. Johnson, could you explain how the public was notified of application Z26-01 and OPA number 8 for 36 Smith Crescent?
Yes, Mayor McGarvey, notice was given by prepaid first-class mail to the required prescribed agencies and property owners within 120 meters, and as a notice was posted on the property in accordance with the Ontario Planning Act. Notice is therefore considered to be provided in accordance with the Planning Act.
Thank you. Mr. Rand, could you explain the purpose of the proposed applications?
Thank you, Worship. The subject lands are located at 36 Smith Crescent. The lands were previously owned by the YMCA, who operated out of an existing building on the property. The building was transferred to the West Parry Sound Recreation and Cultural Board as a potential site for the new pool project. And as the project was moved further south on Joseph Street, the property has been deemed surplus by the board, and the applicant has an offer to purchase the property. The applications were submitted in order to facilitate the construction of car dealership on the subject lands, as well as facilitate residential development on a portion of the property. And the remainder of the property would be recognized to facilitate a sensitive environmental feature on the property. The applicant is proposing to reuse the existing building on site as an office and sales center with a proposed addition to facilitate vehicle servicing along with parking areas. So if approved, the proposed official plan amendment would redesignate the subject lands from the current designation of open space to highway commercial in part, rural residential in part, and environmentally sensitive in part. And if approved, the proposed zoning amendment application would rezone the subject lands from open space zone to highway commercial zone in part, rural residential zone in part, and environmental protection zone in part. As the lands are serviced via municipal water and service and private sewage disposal services, the zoning amendment would also limit uses to low effluent producing uses only until such time as full municipal services are available to the subject lands. The application would also add an outdoor market as a permitted use, and there are no other special zoning exemptions or other uses being requested at this time. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. In accordance with the Planning Act, Council will consider all matters placed before it prior to granting an official plan or zoning amendment. If a public body who files an appeal of a decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound in respect of a proposed zoning amendment does not make written submissions to the Council before it provides or refuses to provide a decision, the Ontario Land Tribunal may dismiss the appeal. And at this time, does anyone wish to speak in favor of the proposed application for the zoning amendment? Oh, hang on. You can sit if you want.
Sorry. I guess I'm here to say I support. I introduced myself. I'm Adam Bourgeois. I don't have a lot of experience with council meetings. I've been to a couple over the years. So I guess a quick question, I guess, other than introducing myself, is there anything else you wanted to know? I can give a little brief history on myself if that helps.
If you want to,
Yeah.
you can.
Just for some peace of mind, I do have some experience with development. I purchased my family dealership. I'm a third generation car dealer. So in 2010, I purchased my Ford store in Midland from my father, relocated it to the highway. Similar project to what I'm proposing to do here. I took an industrial building and gutted it and turned it into a car dealership. And then that kind of spurred the growth. And I'm kind of envisioning similar for here. And then went on to build an Nissan dealership from a greenfield project. And then I purchased the Parry Sound dealership during the pandemic, and then at the same time opened the Hyundai store in Midland. It was a Honda store that I reimaged to be a Hyundai store. So I have a track record. You know, I've done a lot of due diligence. We were attempting to build the Crossroad, ran into some issues with the ministry, which is why I pivoted to this property, and I think it's a perfect fit. You know, we can retrofit the former YMCA property, turn the existing building into a sales office, and then add a nice addition onto the side and be able to service the community better and grow and grow. Like we're kind of at a standstill right now with the current business model. We can't grow. You know, we're operating at 3 different locations. So this would amalgamate everything under one roof, open up future development with our current site downtown. And I'm looking forward to hopefully this all gets approved and the zoning change goes through and we can all work together on this. Thanks.
Thank you. So I have to ask, is there anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of the proposed application for a zoning amendment? Nobody online, eh? No, okay. But now I have to ask, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the proposed application for a zoning amendment? And you have to identify yourself by name and address. Not seeing anybody, but I will ask one more time. Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to this proposed application for a zoning amendment? Nope. Okay, Mr. Rand, have there been any letters received as a result of the notice?
Comments were received by the building department, which indicate that the westerly portion of the residential lands, the proposed residential lands rather, contain a 20-meter wide hydro easement, and future development will be partially restricted on the residential portion in order to ensure that development is located outside of this easement. The building department also indicated that the proposed use would need to be reviewed by the North Bay Mattawa Conservation Authority, as a septic review is required prior to the change of use of the existing building. And approval of the proposed sewage disposal system design would need to be provided prior to the finalization of a site plan agreement. Comments received by the fire chief, bylaw enforcement officer, fire prevention officer, and wastewater department all indicate no concerns with the application. We did receive 2 public comments from Dean Harris and Al Harris, and both indicated support for the redevelopment of the property, and no other comments were received on the application.
Okay, thank you. Need a mover and seconder to adjourn the public meeting. Councillor Keith, Councillor Ashford, that we do now declare the public meeting closed. All in favor? That's carried. We're now back into regular session. Okay. So I'm going to move up 10.3.1 now, because that way so people don't have to stay for the whole meeting. Yep. Good. I got the right one first, right?
Yeah, that's the one first.
Yep. Good, good. Good. Just making sure. Moved by Councillor McCann, seconded by Councillor Borneman, that bylaw number 2026-7580 being a bylaw to adopt official plan amendment number 836 Smith Crescent be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Borneman, seconded by Councillor McCann, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Next one is moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford, that bylaw number 2026-7581 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2004-4653, the zoning bylaw as amended for 36 Smith Crescent and legally described as Part Lot 29, Concession 4, formerly in the Township of McDougall, now in the Town of Parry Sound, being Parts 1, 3 to 5, 10, and 11, and part of Part 8, Plan 42R 10581, Town of Parry Sound in the Town of Parry Sound be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Councillor Keith and then Councillor Beleski.
Thank you. Mr. Rand, I'm just wondering, and I have read certainly the report, and there is a lot of information there and quite clear. However, in reference to the idea that down the road, maybe there might be in one section there, some residents, is there any idea of what, of the number or the type? Are they, is the possibility of single sort of homes being built, or what's the plan?
Through your worship to Councillor Keith, the proposed designation and zoning would enable rural residential, which would permit one single family dwelling and one accessory dwelling unit.
So that's a total of 2. Thank you.
Councillor Beleski.
Thank you, Your Worship. I probably could ask this sooner, but there's a chunk of land at the very front of it that the old weigh scales were on. And that, I think, is some sort of a water filling station now. I didn't see it in what's the plan for that. What's going to happen to it?
Through your worship to Councillor Beleski, there is indeed a water filling station there. Through the site plan, like there's no change proposed for that water filling station. Through the site plan process, we'll navigate what the entrance looks like to ensure that both uses are accommodated. The applicant would like to utilize Parry Sound as the main entrance into the property. So it will certainly be looked at, but both uses will be maintained in the future. It's just a matter of how, the car dealership traffic would interact with that filling station. Through the site plan process, we would require a traffic report that would look at specifically how that entrance design would work to facilitate the two uses.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Mr. Harris?
Just for the clarification of the public, that property is owned by the town. So it's not part of this zoning.
I just
Yeah,
wondering, it is going to interfere with the entrance. I think it.
Yeah.
I'm some impression from the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just for the benefit of the public too, we've had some discussions when it was thought it might be the location of the new rec center. Staff are, very familiar with that intersection and having, or that entrance and having access off Parry Sound Drive. And there's been a lot of thought put on that already. So as Mr. Rand said, that'll be some we can work on.
Anything else? Councillor Ashford?
This might be a bit of a misunderstanding, but I was just wondering when it's being rezoned from open space to environmentally protected. Is that I think I've been reading the newspaper, probably many of us, about barn swallows and different things that are happening with, this somewhat critical species. So is there any reason we really have to have it as environmentally protected? Just from the sense that we kind of got a small town, very little highway space, and sounds like maybe we could have 2 or 3 dealerships there as we move forward. Is this something that it really has to go that way? Given it from my eye looks the same as 90% of McDougall and Carling Township. So that little bit is how critical is that, and how does that kind of fit into how all this works? If I understand it correctly at all.
Yeah, through your worship to Councillor Ashford. So there is a wetland on that portion of the property. So the owner has taken a cautionary approach in zoning that out for development. I don't believe that, as they are reusing the existing building, any proposed development would be sort of further from the wetland than what's existing there. Once you get into filling a wetland or changing that, then you're looking at environmental studies and that sort of thing. So I think the applicant has taken a cautionary approach to protect what's there, just from an ecological perspective. It would also avoid, complicated reviews and additional studies as well prior to, altering that feature.
That's wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
My guess is too that the owners have probably enough with the environment constraints on the other property, so I think this is a good move. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Have a good evening. Okay, questions of staff. Councillor Borneman.
Thank you, Your Worship. My questions for Mr. Cairns. Mr. Cairns, I'm hoping that you can provide us with an update with respect to pumping station 2, and including maybe a comment or two about the availability of the boat launch during the upcoming season, whether or not it's going to be feasible or if that's down the road another year.
Certainly, through your worship. The project's generally on schedule. Activities are continuing in not only the lift station, but the surrounding streets. So the in-ground infrastructure is continuing to be installed. And unfortunately, the boat launch is not going to be an accessible option this summer. There's so much work to do on the interior of the lift station, as well as the piping, the connections. There's connections to the adjacent properties to complete as well. So, certainly if we find the construction schedule becomes accelerated, it will be available as soon as we can. But with the amount of equipment that's working over there and the activities that are going on, interacting with the public, it's been challenging when the site has been closed, I can say. So certainly we wouldn't want to have an open site passing through the construction site.
I think we're erring on the side of caution and safety. So, Councillor McCann.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this question is for Ms. Johnson. We talked a couple of weeks ago about this coming forward, and I think for the sake that the public may have an opportunity to know that it is coming up. The Coat of Arms Committee has, I understand, has done its work, and I believe we're set at some point to display the new coat of arms. And I know that you're working on that and preparing it to come forward. Do we have any kind of a timeline when we can expect that to move forward?
Through you, Mayor McGarvey, we don't have an exact timeline yet. We've received the Chief Herald's documents. They're framed, they're ready to go up in an unveiling, and we're still working on the working with the flag company on making the flag. So that is the last piece, and when I have more information on that, I'll let council know with a proposed date.
That's wonderful. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Any further, Councillor Keith?
Well, yes, I got a couple of questions, and I just heard as a result of the information presented by Ms. Johnson, I do have a question. When everything is formalized in respect to the flag and the coat of arms, are we going to have some special sort of recognition, celebration, whatever word we want to use there, so that people really know this is an important thing that we've done and be aware?
Through you, Mayor McGarvey, yes, I would expect, and in consultation with the mayor, work on a special event for the unveiling and a promotion of the new flag and coat of arms.
Thank you. I have two other questions, and that would be for Mr. Cairns. I'm just wondering, in reference to the fact that the boat launch there will not be available this year, is there going to be something real clear on the website and also clear in signage that boat launch is not likely to be available this year, so that it's posted and clear? Because I know the comments I heard from you a moment ago in reference to it's already been a bit of a challenge when you've had things fenced off. And I know I hear people trying to figure out and insisting they know a way to get around the fence. So what's the scoop there, please?
Through your worship. So certainly the website we can do. The signage may be a little more challenging because there is a lot of construction signage already. There's project signage. So it may get lost in the shuffle, but certainly we can put the messaging out. The other two boat launches will be open. Last year it worked really well at the Salt Dock. People parked in an orderly fashion. We'll make sure the lines are again delineated down there. So we'll take advantage of whatever mechanism we have to get the messaging out, but signage may not be the best avenue just with the amount of signage that we're currently having to have in place over there.
Well, I can only suggest that something in yellow usually hits people's eyes pretty quick as to what a situation is, but I'm sure you'll look into that. The other question, though, I have is the garbage trucks and the recycling trucks. We see them going around now in the community, and I'm wondering, has the little kinks been ironed out so that things are flowing more nicely now? What's the percentage of success in flow now in those departments, please?
That's through your worship. I would suggest that as far as garbage goes, we're tracking very well. There's been a couple of incidents with some mechanical breakdowns, but those happen in an average year. As far as the Blue Box program, we're hearing less complaints. We've had to work through some circumstances where certain buildings were not being picked up for quite an extended period of time. So we've tried to facilitate those conversations between those building owners and Mterra, who happens to be the contractor. So, and just for clarity, if folks are in need of blue boxes, they need to call Mterra directly. So we do have their customer service line number on the website as well. So because the transition of the Blue Box program, we are no longer involved from that perspective. So they supply the bins, they are to respond to complaints. We've done what we can to help facilitate those conversations, but it's no longer in the town's control for the Blue Box program.
So my last question then would be, for a telephone number, is that possible that we could post something that on one of the doors or whatever, glass windows or whatever of the town office, so that people who, everybody doesn't have a computer, knows they, you know, whatever, their blue box got destroyed, stolen, whatever, where they can contact? Is there a way that we could do that, or so that people do know besides website, please?
Through your worship. So if folks are making the trip to town hall, we're certainly going to pass that information along to them. We're not going to simply say, check the website. So we do have the number, and certainly if they call the Public Works Department, we'll pass that information along directly if they want to make a phone call to the department as well.
Councillor McDonald, he's online, and then Councillor Borneman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This question is for Mr. Cairns. We're just over 2 months away from May long weekend. Just wondering if we could get an update. I know council requested this back in the fall, about looking at options of freeing up some parking spaces or creating some parking spaces in the downtown core. Just wondering kind of where we're at in that regard, ahead of the May long weekend.
Kearns?
Through your worship. So we've been discussing this in town hall recently. I'm hopeful that the snow will go orderly but quickly, maybe not all at the same time, because that'll be the biggest challenge. We do have some options to create additional parking spaces. We had talked about previously that we're going to advance this spring, but the construction season will dictate that. We do plan to do it as early as possible. I was speaking with Mr. Bonazza today about those plans. So it'll really, the weather and how quickly the construction season can begin will dictate that. We do have some other options we're talking about, where we may be able to facilitate access to some existing spots, but those are discussions that are ongoing. So we are making that attempt as well as creating some new spots.
We're good, Councillor McDonald? Okay, all right, Councillor Borneman?
I want to back up to the boat launch thing and pumping station too. And I wanted to thank Mr. Morrissey, Tom Morrissey, for the drone footage that he's posting online with respect to pumping station too. It gives you, if anyone has a, you know, an ability to check that out, it certainly gives you a better perspective than what you get from the roadway because of the barriers that don't allow you to get down there, and the same with the hotel, the progress of the hotel. With respect to the boat launch, is Mr. Cairns, you know, I get it that the salt docks and even the Wabano Beach aren't the ideal locations, but 3 into 2 isn't ideal either. Is there, or has there been enough demand, pushback, whatever, to consider putting a second lane at the salt docks, like a side-by-side launch to, we're a waterfront community and accessing the waterfront is a big thing here. And I'm just wondering if that's something that we might consider in future.
Through your worship, I guess the short answer to that is no, we've not had those discussions. The Salt Dock boat launch, the area under the water is challenging there. So we have had an underwater assessment done. When the ships were actively using the salt dock, they would remain at the dock under power. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but there was a lot of washout from the prop wash while that boat was sitting there under power. So it scours the bottom. Those are some of the problems we had with you may have noticed the slabs in the last few years when the boats were still operating, that the slabs were falling away. We lost a few of them, had to replace them. I would suggest that's not a minor capital project to accomplish that.
More questions? No. Okay, there's no correspondence tonight and no deputations, so we'll go ahead to reports. We'll start with Councillor McDonald online there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have any council related reports or any meetings to report this time.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Borneman.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good evening, everyone. On February 24th, I think along with everyone else, I attended the capital budget review here. The following morning, Councillor Bileski and I attended the monthly board meeting at Belvedere Heights. The board has staff working to update the website and provide our municipal partners with the latest with respect to agenda, minutes, and news at Belvedere. Councillor McCann has been after me about the move downstairs, and we learned during that meeting that there is some delay in having everyone down there because we're having difficulty with Bell doing something that's called porting phone lines down there that has an impact on the PA system and connecting the public to different staff members. But it's hoped that that'll be resolved in the immediate future, I guess. I think like everyone else, I'm going to make a comment about Saturday of outstanding day for Parry Sound. Thank you to the staff, the organizers, the DBA and sponsors for putting on a spectacular event with Megan Oldham, and thank you to Sully Burrows. And I think maybe his family may have had some influence on him being available Saturday. So a shout out to them as well for having, that's kind of like the daily double in Parry Sound, having two young folks from our community doing great things in totally divergent fields showing up the same day. And we've all talked about the crowds and what a trooper Megan is. So congratulations to her one last time, and thank you to everyone who worked so hard to put that together. And that's my report for this evening.
Thank you. Councillor McCann.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow councillor, staff, and the public. I was just trying to go back a little bit, and I might have my dates mixed up, but I wanted to mention that I had attended the public meeting at the Parry Sound High School with regards to the meeting that was hosted by Education Minister Paul Calandra and MPP Graydon Smith and our newly appointed Director of Education. I think people came out of that somewhat frustrated and probably didn't hear all that they wanted to hear. But the saga continues just the same. Thursday evening on the 26th of February, I attended the West Parry Sound District Museum monthly board meeting. That was virtual. Regular business was conducted, including receipt and approval of financial statements for January. The museum's personnel policy was reviewed this past month, and the board was satisfied that it required no changes at this time. The Busty exhibit is on display, and the exhibit built for the Bay, Scoots and Everyday Ingenuity, is now open through till December this year. The Burley Harris Quest, an escape room experience, continues to be featured and right through till the 18th of April. So you still have a chance to get in with that. And with the spring break coming up, there are some things, some games that the museum is planning. And all you have to do is check out the website for all the details, dates and times, museumontowerhill.com. And then, of course, along with everyone else, I attended the special capital budget council meeting last week here in Chambers. I want to thank staff for their hard work and diligent efforts in putting this together. It makes it easy for council. And of course, too, my wife and I were at the Stocky Center to take part in a day that goes in our history books with the accomplishments that Megan has won and brought home gold and bronze. It certainly was a day to celebrate. I've never seen the Stocky Center packed the way it was that day, and then of course the party to follow downtown. So certainly we congratulate Megan on her accomplishments. She did the area very proud, and we in turn return the favor by showing up to show our own pride and congratulations for her accomplishments. I guess she's planning on the next Olympics, Winter Olympics coming up. So good luck to her. And I understand her brothers may be sharing the stage with her, or the podium at some point in time. We'll wish them all good luck. One more note, with the spring break coming up, not far from now, the Parry Sound Public Library has some fun and games for kids over the March break. The events begin on Friday, March 13th, and will continue throughout the week. I guess really the best thing I can say is just check the website for times and dates and events. There's Tech Day. There's a thing called Shrinky Dink keychains for the kids. There's a Lego Club mix-up challenge and much more. So of course on the web at parrysoundlibrary.com, and you'll find all the details there. And that's my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Blasky.
Thank you, Your Worship. On the 24th of February, of course, I attended the capital budget meeting for council. It was interesting. 25th, I attended the Belvedere meeting, which Councillor Borderman has explained it satisfactory. And Saturday, I attended at the Stocky Center the celebration of Megan's winning the gold and the second medal. I've got to say that I'd never met the young lady before, or even seen her before. All the nice things that have been said about that young lady are definitely warranted. She's an exceptional, well-spoken, down-to-earth type woman, lady. And Parry Sound and Canada are definitely should be proud to have her representing them. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ashford.
You know, one of the most important things of the year for us is the draft capital budget. So that was a great opportunity to read excessively and just look at many numbers and try to come to terms with what's best for our community. And great work by staff on that to make that job easier on all of us. And then of course on Tuesday, opportunity to be there at the Stocky Center, and everybody's kind of saying the different things about it. But just from my perspective, as an educator and a father that, as I was sitting there watching, mostly, Howard talk and trying to see if there's anything I can, you know, see as as parenting and maybe something that I could adapt or could use in my own parenting, and trying to think of, when journaling and goal setting is good to start for your kids, and and avoid taking cowbells and all that kind of stuff that he talked about there. I can say my daughter didn't pay as much attention to those kind of things, and would often be poking me and talking about something else going on in the Stocky Center. But I really think when Megan started talking, or when Megan was doing something, her eyes were glued to her the entire time. And I think that there's not you just can't buy that for the young women in our community. So I really think that in our schools and in our families that, I know my girl, she now goes to bed, and when I say, hey, what do you want to talk about, she has plans, and all right now it's worrisome. She's going on the bigger hills in her jackrabbit class, right? Where before she never wanted to. That's one kind of small thing. But now at night when we go to bed, she has plans. And I don't think you can get that from any amount of people talking, but aside from the example that Megan set there in her work. So I want to thank her for that, and everyone that helped put that together, because it was a real great opportunity for my little girl. And then finally, I think Councillor McDonald might be um, uh, not, or might not want to sell himself too much, but he started something quite a few years ago, for Knockdown Cancer event at the bowling alley. And now there's a new group that has the bowling alley there, and they're running it still, and it makes a big difference for the community. When Chris did it, and now again, and that's on Saturday. So I don't know if there's any spaces left to get involved in that, but I know I got family and friends that are going to do it, and it makes a big difference to, I've known people that are recipients. It makes a big difference to people. And then after that too, it's International Women's Day. And if you do not have anything going on that night, there's some great events going on at the Stocky. So I encourage anybody to take a look. A wonderful comedian, and a lot of stuff. And I know I asked my wife, I said, can I go to this? It looks like it's going to be, well, it's International Women's Day. You can't come. So I won't be there, but so it may very well be a women's only event. I'm not sure, but take a look if you don't got anything going on Saturday. It looks like it's a real wonderful opportunity of things going on. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Keith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors, staff, and the public. I attended the question session at the high school where Minister Calandra, the director of the Board of Education, and the MPP also attended. So that certainly gave me some insight in hearing what our local community is concerned about. It seems to be pretty consistent. I too attended the draft capital budget that's already been mentioned. I also attended the West Parry Sound OPP Detachment Board. Basically, when you compare the statistics for the province and for the West Parry Sound area, they really are in line. The biggest concerns appear to be impaired driving and drugs. And there are focus plans in respect to that that are going to occur. In addition, it was an action plan that was developed between 2026 and 2029, which just came to the agenda last week. And we'll show what the plan is for our whole area in that trying to keep our community very safe. I too attended the celebrations for Megan Oldham, both at the Stocky Center and during the street celebration. And it definitely was a cold day, but there must have been a few hundred people down there, and Sully Burrows providing his music. I think that was a real gift, being a Parry Sounder and really coming together and helping support our community. And it was really great that within 9 days, people like April McNamara with and Nicole Mullen and all our staff and the DBA, April Denman, people and sponsorships all pulling together to make this happen. So it just shows you sometimes things can happen and be well organized even with a short period of time. So I think that's really great. And then the last thing I would mention is I am saying well wishes for Mark Idison, who will be going to the Paralympics, and the Paralympics start on March 6th. And certainly having been a Parry Sounder and certainly representing curling, get it out, curling, I can only hope that he'll come back this time with gold. He's come back before with bronze, so I wish him well, as I'm sure many of our citizens in the community do the same, and that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Council, staff, and public. February 19th, as was mentioned, I also attended the public meeting at Parry Sound High School, which was organized by the Minister of Education. February 24th, council met for the capital budget meeting. February 25th, I attended virtually a public health meeting. February 26th was the Parry Sound District EMS Advisory Committee meeting, and there's an item on the agenda tonight for council from the advisory committee. February 28th at 9 a.m. I had a smaller municipalities meeting. Main topic was the 2026 budget and the conference here in Parry Sound. So that's well underway, and anyone wanting to sign up can go online to the AMO website or OSM website and register for the conference. February 28th was also Megan's Day. Township staff and the DBA put together 2 events to honor Megan Oldham for winning a bronze medal in the freestyle skiing event and a gold medal in the big air event at the Olympics in Italy. Everyone is very proud of her accomplishments. And there was an event at the Saki Center which filled the building with people outside as well. There was also an event downtown which drew a large crowd, a really large crowd. The event at the Stocky Center was live streamed and recorded. Sully Burrows flew up from Nashville with some of his band to perform at the downtown event, and that was a real treat. He is certainly doing really well in the music industry, and just it's super. Megan was a real trooper during the day. She is a very well-grounded, genuine person and was super accommodating and signing autographs and having pictures taken. She is certainly someone to be very proud of. So congratulations, Megan, and thank you for everything that you've done and will do. You know, it's a real message to the youth, which I had said downtown, that, you know, if you want to do something, try it, do it. Because the youth are our future, and you know, you find a way. Sometimes it's not easy, but you find a way, that path forward or whatever, to try and accomplish what your dream is. And that dream could be absolutely anything that you can possibly try to accomplish. So I encourage all of our youth to certainly just try and do. And, you know, you come up with some great opportunities at times. I have to thank Nicole and Caitlin and April McNamara from our staff, April Denman from the DBA, for helping to organize the event, our employees and staff and volunteers with the town for all pulling together to make this all work. There was a lot of moving parts, and there were a good number of sponsors and people that supported the event as well. I'm going to read a list of the first list of people that donated money. So there was Dent Bay Bakery, Parry Sound Wing House, Connor Industries, Dentistry on the Bay, Sound Seals Insulation, Artisan Construction Incorporated, Jeans Unlimited, Shannon Bedell Tattoos, Harris Furniture and Antiques, Spiral Stained Glass, Jennifer Bagan Elves Holistic Health and Nutrition, White Squall, Legend Spirits, Parry Sound Golf and Country Club, and Community Business Development Center. And then there were also in-kind and discounted services. There was Big Lake Cinematic, Adams Brothers, Downtown Business Association, Cabin Media, Brady Carpenter Photography, Peter Istovan Photography, Minuteman Press, Cakes by Meg, Shannon Bedell Tattoos, So Extreme, The Zone, Happy Face Painting, Proline, Obdam's Flowers, Aquagraphics, Weeks Instruction, and Blake's Memories of Muskoka. I certainly also have to thank our MP, Scott Aitchison, and MPP Graydon Smith for being there and presenting as well. And a shout out to Howard. I think it was really good that everybody understood or knew what it took to get a champion to where she is, because there's a lot of work that the parents have to do to support an individual with a dream like that, and just fantastic. So yes, and the Paralympics start Friday, and good luck, Mark Idison. So yeah. Oh, and March 12th at the Stocky Center, Sully Burrows is an opening act for a band there. So get your tickets. Okay.
Mayor, can I just add another comment? I was listening to Councillor Ashford make his report, and I would suggest that he hold himself in readiness to prepare his rooftop so that his daughters can ski down and take it from there.
I think a parachute might be warranted.
Paul says not the triplex.
Well, the other house roof's pretty high too. That's okay. 911 moved by Councillor Borneman, second by Councillor McCann. The council hereby approves the undertaking of the water and wastewater rate study, preparation of an Ontario regulation 453/07 water financial plan and McDougall water transmission agreement reviewed by Watson and Associates Economists Limited. Watson for the estimated cost of $42,312 before HST, and that the work be funded 66% from the Water Stabilization Reserve and 34% from the Wastewater Stabilization Reserve. Discussion. Councillor Borneman.
I'm not sure who this is for, Ms. Phillips, maybe. So we've done this, this is, I think, the third or maybe fourth consecutive time we were planning to engage Watson. Are they that good, or are they the only ones available, or do they have such a head start from having done previous work for us that it's hard for others to compete? Or all of the above?
So through you, Mr. Mayor. So there's an advantage of using them again because they've helped with the DC background study and previous rate studies, whereas they know about our infrastructure and forecasts and all those things. So in that way, also in addition, they've gone through the different types of rate structures and things like that. So they'll just review that as an update. So some of the work will have already been done, but this is going to provide also a review of the cost of providing water to McDougall is going to be included, as well as the water financial plan. So it's a bit of a review of the rate study in addition to some extra work there as well.
Councillor Keith.
Yes, thank you. Got the impression, Ms. Phillips, that if all goes well, and I think it is good when you use a company that you've dealt with many times, so you should be getting a little bit of more of a benefit. But I get the impression if all goes well, completion date for this study may be by the end of June. Is that possible?
That would be the best case scenario, but for sure we would require the water financial plan portion before that date. And then based on how the other works are progressing, we might have to prioritize that ahead, or it would come after, depending. So we'll have to be flexible in that way.
Councillor Ashford?
I think this is I mentioned at our meeting a week ago that I didn't realize that the goal line can kind of move a little on these things and they need to be updated. So it is a little bit scary in a certain sense, that things can change, but I guess we all know that from just living in the world. So I know the numbers that exist, that are coming at the end of this, exist, and they're there. And I think the best thing is for us to get them and figure out what they are, and make sure everybody knows them. So it's kind of exciting in that sense too, to be working on this and getting it all updated.
It's proactive to review regularly.
Yeah. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Borneman, second by Councillor McCann, whereas the town of Parry Sound owns and operates the Parry Sound Drinking Water System MOE designation number 220000585, which has been categorized as a large residential drinking water system. And whereas Ontario Regulation 170-03 as amended under the Safe Drinking Water Act requires, according to Schedule 22 summary reports for municipalities, that all large municipal residential drinking water systems have a report prepared no later than March 31st of each year addressing the items detailed in the regulation, and is given to the members of council in the case of a drinking water system owned by a municipality. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Parry Sound hereby acknowledges receipt of the report titled Town of Parry Sound Tony Agnello Water Treatment Plant Large Municipal Residential Drinking Water System Summary Report 2025 as prepared by Kyle Hall, Manager of Water Systems. Mr. Hall is online, and short synopsis, Mr. Hall, on your report, please.
Review. Mr. Mayor, good evening, Mayor and Council. No real comments about the report, just that plant production and maintenance for the year 2025 was on par and hit all our targets.
Okay. Any questions from staff? No questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Hall, for running a good plant.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Moved by Councillor Bileski, seconded by Councillor Ashford, that upon the recommendation of the EMS Advisory Committee, Council for the Town of Parry Sound authorize the Director of Development and Protective Services to enter into an MOU substantially as attached that outlines the process for the renovation and relocation of the South River EMS base to 309 Highway 124 South River. Chief Thompson, do you have anything you want to add to this? Oh.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the report identifies most issues. Again, this is a process outline of how we will go about doing this. We've been working with the EMS Advisory Committee for over 6 months on this initiative. They're very supportive of it. It will, in the way I'm phrasing it, it's going to future-proof the EMS service, especially on the east side, but throughout the entire district, actually, in providing us for a number of years capacity with regards to space and location, and significantly upgrade the facilities. There is going to be a slight cost increase, but it is offset by being able to consolidate resources. And there's other benefits such as being able to get equipment that is currently stored outside, get it stored inside, take some of the pressure off the Parry Sound base, which right now is bursting at its seams. So we'll be able to relocate some personnel as well as some equipment over to the east side of the district. Numerous benefits, most of it being that for modest increase, we're going to be setting ourselves up in the future or the growth that we are going to have to manage.
Any questions? Councillor Keith?
Yes, thank you. So Mr. Thompson, just to clarify, then it sounds like the village of South River is really willing to work with EMS and that does suggest to me a really strong partner because they're also seeing the benefit of the future proofing.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we have a very willing partner with South River. They have a building that the village owns. It was the former South River Brewery. It is quite a large building. They've had a very difficult time finding any tenant large enough to take over the facility. It very much suits our needs with a combination of area that's suitable for storage of equipment, as well as the appropriate amount of office space. They are quite excited to be able to have a long-term tenant. They're providing us with relief in a number of areas to make it happen. So I believe that it's an exceptionally strong partnership.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ashford, second by Councillor Keith, that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound hereby approves the request of the West Parry Sound Health Center Auxiliary for a tag day on Thursday, June 25th, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the Town of Parry Sound. Discussion? Councillor McCann?
Just a comment, I can't believe it was a year, it's been a year now since the ladies had once again reignited this campaign. It had, of course, gone by the wayside during pandemic. So I just want to say that this is a great army of volunteers. They work hard, and please offer your support to them when you see them.
Anything further? All in favor? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Keith and seconded by Councillor Ashford that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Parry Sound hereby authorizes CAO Clayton Harris to sign the form attached to Schedule A consenting to the dissolution of the West Parry Sound Smart Community Network Incorporated. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Moved by Councillor McCann, seconded by Councillor Borneman, that bylaw number 2026-7579, being a bylaw to appoint BDO Canada LLP as auditors for the Town of Parry Sound, be considered as read a first time. All in favor? Carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? That's carried. Moved by Councillor Borneman and seconded by Councillor McCann that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. Any discussion? Councillor Keith?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Phillips, the way this report is written, there is a statement that basically if the quote, which is above for basically 80,400, if the quote for 2026 year end is not reasonable, this could be re-examined or amended. There's nothing to suggest to me that you do not feel it's reasonable. Have I misunderstood?
No, through you, Mr. Mayor, I feel that it's reasonable. The report references an audit planning report, which upon further inquiry, we weren't able to provide that until after the engagement. So in its place, the engagement letters were attached, so that resolution's not required, just simply the bylaw. There's been a number of challenges in 2024 fiscal year end, which involve like new audit staff on the file, additional regulatory requirements such as asset management and increased audit documentation required together with increased requirements for asset retirement obligations and some other standard changes. It's expected that the 2024 statements will be finalized and before council at the March 17th meeting, so we're getting very close on that. The DBA and library staff have expressed desire to get started with their interim audit, so we wish not to delay that and to move forward with the town's target of being completed 6 months earlier for 2025 fiscal year end. So that's the target, and so if we can get moving, we can get closer to getting done a little bit earlier. Okay.
Further questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ashford, second by Councillor Keith, that bylaw number 2026-7582 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council be considered as read a first time. All in favor? That's carried. All members in favor of having the second and third readings? Carried. Moved by Councillor Ashford, seconded by Councillor Keith, that the bylaw above mentioned be considered as read a second and third time, passed, signed, and sealed. All in favor? That's carried. So prior to adjourning, I'd like to offer the following information regarding the next council meeting. The next meeting of council for the town of Parry Sound is scheduled for Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 7 p.m. The meeting will be held at the Town of Parry Sound Council Chambers at 52 Seguin Street, entrance via Gibson Street, be live streamed and recorded. All regular council meetings are held at 7 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of each month, except January and August, where only one regular meeting is scheduled. Council meeting schedule, notices of special council meetings, complete agendas and minutes, and instructions on accessing live streamed and recorded council meetings are all posted on the town's website. Go to www.parrysound.ca and use the search bar. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.